going to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
This row of trees will be trained onto this side. This row of trees will be trained onto this side. And wires will be what they'll be trained to. So 9-gauge wire will start at 18 inches off the ground and then go a foot up all the way along from there up to only 7.5 feet tall. So at 7.5 feet tall, everything's going to top out, and you're going to try to bend branches down and train them laterally along the top wire, or you're going to cut the top off and you're just going to train the branches laterally. So if you look at the growth here, stuff just wants to launch upwards, right? Yeah. Now, when it's doing that, it's focusing on vegetative growth. It's focusing on making a bigger, fuller tree. Now, that's counter to fruit production. What you want for fruit production is lateral sideways growth, because that's where fruiting wood is formed. The vertical growth is vegetative, the sideways growth is fruiting. So when you tie everything off to trellis, you're forcing the creation of fruiting wood, you're forcing bigger yields, you're limiting the tree's growth potential, and you're forcing it to make that into fruit instead of growth. So you're really redirecting the emphasis of the tree into fruit production. And certain things, it really makes a total, you know, game-changing kind of difference. A lot of fruit here is going to be picked out of a 25 or 30 foot tall tree with a pole. So in the process, that's going to get damaged. Either it's going to land in the basket and get a bruise, it's going to fall on the ground and get cracked, all kind of stuff's going to happen. So when you bring all of that down and you're hand harvesting every fruit, major quality improvement, you know what I mean, across the board. Then for things like durian specifically, the Thai really, and you may know more about this than I do, generally don't want picked durian. They want fallen durian.
That's the opposite. The Thai want the picked, the Malaysian wants the fallen.
So point being, culturally there's different Southeast Asian countries that have different perspective on how the durian is supposed to be processed. And in a general sense, my impression is that the picked durian can be more hit or miss based on ripeness. And if you're trying to pick a fruit from a 50-foot tree and you can't closely look at that fruit, you will not know how finished it is. So you're going to go for it and pick it anyway. Some of them are going to work out, some of them aren't. For Salleras, he's able to walk right up and look at that thing right in hand. He's figured out that the way durian works, it has kind of 2 hangers for the fruit, and those hangers will separate just a little bit right before the fruit's actually going to drop off. So because he can walk up and look at that, as opposed to being like, oh, it might be ready up there, I don't know. He's able to hand pick the fruit, but have them at that perfect timing where they represent, it's as if it fell off the tree, but it didn't get damaged because I picked it. So it's a nice way to sort of split the difference. So this block here, a pear of breadfruit, a group of avocado to link up with this avocado I had existing. My original design was a big loop with a space in the middle for vegetables. And I've transitioned that because I've concluded that tree crop is more appropriate for this climate. Vegetables is more challenging here, requires more work for less return. Fruit trees is going to be more consistent, more predictable. So point being, then it goes to 15 grafted durian straight through the middle there of I think about 7 varieties, something like that.
Do you know the 7 offhand?
I just planted Cobb, D132, Superstar 888, M-Dur 88, which might be the same according to Frankie. Who else is in there? Puang Mani. Yeah, I saw that on your site. And then Musang King. And then I have another planting of durian over here, which I have D168, Chani, Kilauea, Pohakulani, and another 132. So I think I have about 11 durian varieties.
That's a nice collection.
And I have my first successful graft that I made in there is a wedge graft, and that's from a tree from Tom Baldwin's farm that was the tree that was bearing the most consistently up there. And wind throw took it over. It got about 45, 50 feet. It was bearing great. Kona winds tipped the whole thing straight over. So this is another reason for the trellis, because the durian wants to get 50, 60 feet, and Kona winds are going to knock it down. Trades are going to hurt it. The wind is going to affect the blossoms, etc. So bringing it all down into, you know, a manageable, totally out of the wind kind of setting, you're going to get more better quality fruit. So that's my whole focus. So So what you're seeing here is this row, then there's this one, then there's that one, and then there's another one right there that ties in with more existing plantings I already had in the ground.
Could you tell me the name of the trellis again?
Sure.
The technique?
The technique is called Open Tatura, T-A-T-U-R-A, and that's the name of a town in Australia where they developed it.
Is it sort of like a 3D espalier?
It's like an espalier on an, it's like a pair of espalier rows on an angle right next to each other. Yeah. And the concept is that I'm going to be able to walk down the middle of this row in between the trees, and they'll be out on either side of me. So an espalier is more straight up and down and really fanning the trees out. And this is getting the trees onto more of an angle like so. So especially this row, it would be preferable to orient the rows this way. My property didn't allow for that as much. If you can do that, then you know, the way that this is working, this whole row here that's facing to the south is like a solar panel. So when you step them back to that angle, equal amounts of sun is going to hit in the bottom of the tree as is going to hit in the top of the tree. So that's a better consistency on fruit ripening and fruit quality when you're able to have equal amounts of sun hitting everything. And really the concept is once it's all grown out, there should be like a solid canopy across this entire area. And it's not that the trees will join across each other, but the shading will be enough that the entire area should be quite wind protected, quite microclimate, and you know, having the mowing concept to just run down the lines, spit all the mulch right onto the base of the trees. And you can see we're doing chip mulch and sheet mulching up on these rows. We'll do the same in these. This just got planted 2 days ago. And then I'm going to put in all the mango into that block a little bit later today. So
would you expect to get fruit in like 3 years then, or?
The first things should start to fruit in 3 to 4 years. Yeah, is the goal. And what this allowed me to do is, you know, go from roughly 50 fruit trees to 250 fruit trees. I am pretty excited about it. I think it's got a lot of potential. And everybody who's seen it so far wants me to do the same at their place. So,
to learn more about using the Tatura Trellis system for tropical fruit trees like durian, check out the original interview with Peter Salleras in Tully, Australia. Thanks for watching.